Welcome to AWS On Air. We're here live at the DC Summit for day 2. My name's Chad Lacey. I'm a global sales strategist, joined with my co-host.
Hey, I'm Steve Roberts, developer advocate for .NET and PowerShell on AWS. Great to be back at day 2. And for this session, we're joined by Anastasia to talk about SageMaker Canvas. So Anastasia, please introduce yourself and tell viewers a little bit about what you do at AWS.
Of course, thank you. Hi, I'm Anastasia. I'm a machine learning specialist solutions architect with AWS, and I work with a lot of our public sector customers.
Awesome, Anastasia. It's great to have you here. And so I know we're going to talk a little bit about SageMaker Canvas, but I want to back up just a little bit. SageMaker's all around machine learning, so give me an idea, what's the importance of machine learning? What problems are we solving with it?
Absolutely. So, today we have more data generated in an hour, according to IDC, than in an entire year 20 years ago. That's just insane.
You're right.
So there is incredible amount of value we can get out of the data, and the way to go about it is by using machine learning. So a lot of organizations use machine learning to generate predictive business predictions, business insights, improve their operations, innovate, and improve customer experience. So if we think about, for example, credit cards and financial institutions, I'm sure most of us have received at some point an alert that says there was a suspicious transaction.
Yeah.
Right? So behind that, there's machine learning. Banks use all of these historical transaction data they have to train machine learning models and then recognize fraud patterns in transactions and send out these alerts. That's one example.
That's a great one.
Yeah. All right, so pivoting to SageMaker Canvas then, who is it intended for, and what problems does it help solve for that particular customer base?
So machine learning is great. It helps us with so many use cases, but it is also complex, and in some cases, people spend months or years before they have a good model, and sometimes it requires a lot of research as well. But what we've heard from customers is that in a lot of cases they have more machine learning projects than data scientists and machine learning experts. And here at AWS, we thought about how can we bring more tools to people who are not experts and bring to them more tools to use machine learning. So Amazon SageMaker Canvas is a great example of that because it is built specifically for data analysts and business users. And you don't have to have machine learning expertise or coding skills to build machine learning models with Canvas. You can literally create a model in minutes and start generating predictions without knowing about the machine learning jargon or without having coding expertise. So that's exactly the problem it's trying to solve.
Okay, and so I think we need a level set for people also. Like, we launched SageMaker a few years ago, and really made it even easier for people then to start doing machine learning. Where does SageMaker Canvas fit into the suite of SageMaker services? Because there's a lot under that SageMaker banner now.
Yeah, of course. So you're absolutely right. So Amazon SageMaker was launched a bit more than 4 years ago now, and it was built specifically for data scientists and machine learning experts and MLOps engineers in order to help them create, build, and deploy models very quickly. And since then, organizations have generated billions of predictions worldwide using Amazon SageMaker. Now, with Canvas, which was added in November last year, we bring all of these SageMaker technology to the data analysts. And Canvas has a nice visual interface, and you can train your models, build your models, deploy your model, make predictions, all through that interface. And behind that, it's SageMaker. What I also really like about Canvas is that you don't have to go to the AWS console to use it. You have the option to go to Amazon SageMaker in the console and log in and go to Canvas. But if you're not familiar with the console, that's fine. You can use it, and you can go to a link and sign in using single sign-on as you would do with any other software as a service tool. So you have both options.
It sounds like something that I would actually go take a look at myself because I'm an ex-developer, so the coding perhaps is not a problem.
Right.
Okay, it's not a language I use day to day, but it's not a problem. But ML experience, absolute zero. Right, so, and you're just curious about these things. It's like, okay, I kind of feel like I'm going to dip a toe in the water here,
Yeah.
but I just don't know where to get started with it, right? So this sounds like an ideal
No,
tool.
and I love it because I love the way you presented that, Anastasia, because it's the power of SageMaker that has been there for data scientists for a long time, but we're democratizing that down to the data analysts, the business analysts, closer to the line of business for folks that maybe don't have a data scientist on their staff, but still need the power of this machine learning to drive their business. I think that's fantastic.
Exactly, and with because it has SageMaker AutoML under the hood, Canvas, once you upload your data to Canvas, it selects it. First of all, it identifies the problem for you, and it helps you with problems like numeric prediction, classification, time series forecasting. For instance, if you want to forecast sales or forecast demand for your products, it finds the best algorithm for you and the best model.
Wow.
So all of that is completely transparent.
Yeah.
And if you would like to optionally share your model with the data scientists, maybe you have a team that, they usually focus on high priority critical use cases, but they can still spend a few minutes to look at your model. You can do that, and Canvas will generate for everything you've done. It will generate a notebook with all the code, so you can send that to the data science team to take a look if you want to.
Cool. So I understand that you're going to show us SageMaker Canvas. So what are you going to be showing us?
Yeah, so I will show you an example from predictive maintenance. So a lot of manufacturers, they want to know, to recognize equipment failures as early as possible so that they can avoid unplanned downtime and reduce costs, right? And with traditional statistical analysis techniques, they can usually say, yes, this machine has high temperature or the pressure is not the right one, so it will probably fail. But they cannot really get combined predictions based on the combination of all of the attributes that constitute the condition of a machine. So with machine learning, you can really look at velocity of a machine, speed, pressure, and the relationships between them, and predict whether that machine is at risk of failure and what failure type it's going to have. So you can very easily train a model using past data to do that, and that's what I'm going to show you today.
All right. Okay.
So
Fantastic.
I think we can go to the console and have a look, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, great.
So here I am on the on the Amazon SageMaker Canvas console. And the first thing I need to do is I want to create a new model, right? So I will go ahead and create my model. And I need to give my model a name.
Okay. That's nice and simple so far. I could cope with this piece.
Yeah. You haven't lost Steve yet.
I haven't lost me yet.
And first, I need to upload my training data, like all of this historical data I have recorded about my equipment, right? So this is the first step, select.
Okay.
So I just import the data, and I can import the data from S3 or Amazon S3 or my local computer, or I can off the warehouse. In this case, I use S3. And let me show you my data set. It's this one. It's called maintenance data set. Let's have a look. So for each row corresponds to a machine. And you see we have air temperature, process temperature, etc. And we also have the failure type. So this is recorded data from past failures, right? So we use the data set. So it takes a couple of seconds to upload into Canvas.
Okay.
And then I can just select the data set. And Canvas is taking me to the next step, step 2, which is build. Here, I need to select what I want to predict, the failure type. It may be no failure, overstrain failure, or power failure. Canvas knows it's a 3-category prediction, but I also have the option to change the type if for some reason it's incorrect, or there's something else, another prediction I want to do.
When you say 3-category prediction, what do you mean there? As somebody who's new
Yeah,
to this?
of course. So basically, I want a model to build a model that in the future, every time I provide that model with information about the condition of a machine, it will tell me, is there a failure? So or not. So in that case, it would be no failure.
Okay.
Is it an overstrain failure? Or is it a power failure? What is the risk of any of these
Oh,
three?
okay.
Okay.
I've got you. Right.
Okay, that's a three-category prediction. You could have 2 categories, or you could have 5 categories. It's up to the use
Okay.
case.
I got you.
Okay.
Told you I was new to ML.
So so at the bottom of this page, we also have Canvas has built-in visualizations, and you can get some idea about your data. So you can see the missing values, the value distribution, the mode, and the standard deviation for the values of each one of your columns. And you can take actions, and using the UI, you can pre-process the data so that the data set quality is good enough. Another feature that I really like is called Preview Model. And basically that will give you, in a couple of minutes, will give you an idea about the estimated accuracy of your model, even before you do the training.
Oh.
And
Oh, wow.
also the impact of each column to the prediction. For example, you may find out that when machines who have a high rotational speed tend to fail, maybe they have overstrain failure, or maybe something else doesn't really matter. In this case, you'll see that, for example, the product ID doesn't make any difference, which makes sense, right? The product ID of a machine shouldn't have anything to do with whether the machine will fail or not.
Yeah.
So we can just remove it, and then we can go ahead and do and build our model. And here we have 2 options. We have the quick build options, which will give you a result in up to 15 minutes. And we have the standard, and I'm using that right now. And we also have the standard build, which will take up to 4 hours to give you results. But Canvas will go through an exhaustive amount of combinations to find the best model for you.
Okay.
So it depends. If you want a response immediately in 15 minutes, you select quick build. If you can wait, then you can select the standard build. It's up to you and how urgent the request is, and whether the accuracy has to be exactly up to a precision level, or you can sacrifice a bit on the accuracy.
So if I'm kind of learning about these models and things, I could go through and do a quick build. Can I go back and then say, I'm happy now with what I've got. Yes, I think it's going to do what I need. Go back and then do a full build.
Yep.
Okay.
You can do that. And once you do a full build, it will. You can also share your model with the data scientists.
Okay.
And is there a method to go back and keep retraining the model as well by adding additional data? I mean.
Yeah. So we. You can have different versions when you create a model. So. Yeah. So if you see at the top of the screen, you see it's V1, this one, but you can. You can.
Oh, so we can
Gotcha.
version
You can
experiment and have different
That's fantastic.
versions.
All
Yes. Okay, let's see the results. So my model predicts the correct failure type 99% of the times. Canvas is also giving me some more details here. So if you want to dive deeper, and you can do so, and you can also explain to your stakeholders why your model is making the predictions it's making. So, shall we make some predictions now? So we can, I have another data set, and it has data from the machines that are in use right now. And I will import that data set, and I want to predict which of these machines are at risk of failure or not.
Okay.
So again, I import the dataset into Canvas. I have each machine per row, but I don't know the failure type. I just know their condition, right? So I import the data.
So while that imports, we have a question from a LinkedIn user, Trupti Dave. He says, can SageMaker be used to predict any data or only for machine failures?
Well, as long as, it supports three types of problems: numeric prediction or regression, classification, and time series forecasting. So if your problem and your use case can be framed as one of these problems, yes, SageMaker Canvas is for you. Your input data needs to be in CSV format.
Okay. And we have another question from a Twitch user, Charette, yeah, I think. Sorry if I mangled that. Can you use a data set of any type, for example, JSON instead of the CSV that we're using here?
CSV.
CSV,
Yeah.
okay. All right. So, predictions.
Yes,
we
so
got?
let's generate some predictions. Okay, so
Okay.
it's quite fast. And now you see at the beginning of my data set, I have a new column, which is the prediction for the failure type and the probability that this failure type will occur. So the first few of my machines are okay, but if we look further down, for example, you can see that the one that has UDI 747 is at risk of overstrain failure. So
Okay.
I can ask my engineer to go downstairs right now and check that machine. Is that as powerful as that?
That's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And I can definitely see, going back to what you said when we first started, just the sheer amount of data that's coming to businesses from cars and IoT sensors and just public data sets everywhere, where it's going to be increasingly more important for people to be able to adapt and leverage machine learning to be able to process that data.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And there are so many use cases where you can use, for which you can use Canvas, right? So predicting customer churn, fraud detection,
Yeah.
let's say capacity planning.
Yep.
So many use cases.
Cool. This is cool. All right. So, how can viewers get started with SageMaker Canvas? Is there a free tier available?
There is, yes. So users can get
Aha.
started right away. There is a free tier for 2 months. And after that, you are being charged while you use Canvas, so there are no upfront costs. You're being charged while you are logged in to this console that I'm showing you, and also based on the number of cells in your training data. So the cells in the data set that you provide to train the model.
All right. Awesome.
No, that's fantastic. I really appreciate the demo, and I think the
You're
use
welcome.
cases are on point. Really appreciate you coming and sharing your.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Anastasia.
Thank you.
And thank you all for tuning in. We'll be right back.
Thank you.